Hey, good that you're here. This is day 6 of 30 to be better family provider. In Swedish, 6 is sex and sex is sex. So let's talk about sex, okay? First, I want to share that, this is a new space. Moving around the rooms at home, so everyone is kind of excited and tense. Like Nora, my 4-year-old, she's almost getting her own room, or we're not sharing the playroom with the living room anymore. She's excited about that, but she's often quite tense during transitions. And this morning I didn't get up at 5. I woke up 11 past 5 and then I went to sleep even more. And it's basically because yesterday evening became a very late night and I wanted to be awake and clear and not like tense and stressed. If I'm stressed, I become a crappy dad, crappy person, basically. So, yeah, Leia is sad. She's having some fever. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so I got up later and basically we had my mom was here, kid's grandma, and we had a miscommunication yesterday, so it became like a painful moment. She was not seen, she didn't feel seen and she didn't feel respected. So we took time to talk about that, and I feel touched. She spoke up about how she didn't feel seen and that she wanted it to be another way, and I felt the same. Like I felt I didn't treat her the way I want to treat her. So it was both inspiring and painful. I think it's challenging, this relationship with my mom, in the sense that I take her for granted much more than I should. I don't know what else to say, but I want to honor her more, and she's amazing support of our family. Basically, let's go to talk about some sex. A friend of ours has for some weeks planned to have some kind of sex coaching with me and my wife, and we had it last night after many weeks of waiting, and it's beautiful. He has some experience in some sexual practices like tantra and some other things. So it was a beautiful meeting, and basically also a lot of other perspectives and kind of how we're healing ourselves as sexual beings and how we relate to each other. And what really touched me, and I think is so powerful as a man, as a sexual being, as a man, how I have this belief about sex, and I know this is wrong, but it's a belief that is very deep in kind of my subconscious mind and also in my nervous system. So I act out of this sometimes. When I'm like in my power, I don't, but I can forget about it. And when I'm stressed, when I feel unseen, when I don't feel appreciated and so on, then it comes forth. And what it is about is that what I learned when I was young about sex, that sex is something that men want and women don't want. They're not that interested in it. They do it because the man wants it, and that kind of man should get lucky if he gets sex, and it's a man's hunt to get sex, and it's a woman to kind of reject, and if he's persistent enough or charming enough or whatever, then he can get there. And this is coming like from a space of lack. This is coming from when I experience this, then I'm lacking. I'm fearful from this, and vi ska inte prata om det. Vi får prata sen. Stänger du? Tack. Yeah, it's a space of lack, and what that means is that I feel fear if I'm gonna be seen, if I'm gonna be respected, if I'm gonna be like loved, basically, and that creates a lot of And when I come from that space, and then it creates a negative expectation for my wife, so she can basically only fail, and she thinks it's also creating tension in her because it's not a generous, heartfelt space. So this really created a lot of separation for us and disconnection, and yeah, it really blows up in many ways. So what I'm inviting is really to acknowledge. Okay, take two. So this is quite a few hours later, and everyone is sleeping, and I just looked at the end that you just saw, and I just love this. I just lost it. Maybe you saw, like, I went from trying to focus on this video, and then kids were crying, and like these priorities came in. Like, the kids are crying sometimes, quite often, and it became so clear where focus was to be put. And I basically came into a situation. It was about dinner time, and Nora was in the playroom, and Leia was on my wife's arm, and my wife was really stressed and trying to fix everything, and making food, and tidy up, and hold the baby that wasn't happy. And and when I came in, there was like this huge tension. She was like all over, and I could see that she was not well, as you could hear also from the crying. And it wasn't her crying, but the kids were crying. And it became this very challenging situation. So it's basically, she was moving everywhere, and I tried to check in. Like, sometimes she can be okay, even though it's a lot. And I had things I wanted to get done that I value also. So I was a bit torn, but I wanted to check in and to see if she needed help. And she didn't say that, and she was just running around, and then I called her like, "Hey, stop." I was like, one of the things that triggers me mostly is when my wife does not, when she's triggered and she does not take the time to take a break. And what I wish, to self-love, like, quite often when she has a tough time, I can feel love for her, but and sometimes I'm stressed, I can't feel love for myself, and I see that in her when she cannot feel love for herself when she's stressed, and that hurts me a lot. And I wish her to connect to herself. And now I demanded that. I said, "Stop, like, take 2 minutes, let's talk." And then we didn't get very far within these 2 minutes, but after that, it was hard. Like, I easily take in her attention in these kind of situations. But what happens is that I said, I do the rest, I take over. I do the food, I do the tidying up, I take the kids, you go out, go for a walk. And I do my work stuff and finish this video afterwards. And it was clear afterwards that she wanted help, but she didn't ask for help, and I wanted her to ask for help. It's so clear afterwards now, like, how hard it is to ask for help in these kind of situations, being stressed and not feeling connected. It's really hard to ask for help in these situations. So I'm really happy we could work that out and connect to each other. And she went for a walk and came back grounded and inspired, and still tired, but it was a beautiful journey of how we could support each other. And then what I really appreciate is that some hour ago I asked her how she experienced situations, because I wanted to see how like feedback, if I could do it better, if I could support in a better way. And that was very valuable to actually hear her. It's so easy for me to think what she thinks, but really to hear her words about it. like the lesson for me is to not try to be so smart. Maybe you can relate. So do you have any things like, how do you do when your partner is, you know, in a challenging situations? How are you supporting? How do you get triggered? You know, how do you fall out of yourself? And how do you make yourself stand up as you want to? Okay. Thank you.